Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Elev8. We got a real good one in store for you tonight. We're going to be joined by Gasp here in a minute, but before we get to that, we're going to jump over and talk to Steve real quick.
What up, y'all? Just really excited for tonight. We got Gasp coming on. Go follow him on gasp.one on Instagram. His work is phenomenal. His Fume, he's a master. Check it out. I'm really excited to get to see this interview tonight with him and Chris. And hell yeah. And I really also want to let you all know I'm really excited about this. But we got our bath bombs fully done up. I got this, we got our chic right here. We got our gallant right here. This is for the men. Then we got our regular essentials. And these are just your essential oils, whatnot. And inside every single one of those bath bombs, we got this. And it's really, really dope. And we're looking for some Elev8 dolls to help us promote this and all of our Elev8 products. Anyways, hey, let's check out Gasp right now. And yeah, this is gonna be dope. Here we go, yo. See you, Chris.
Thanks, Steve. That was super awesome. I'm super excited for this interview, so let's get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, gasp.one. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
So how did you get started blowing glass?
Basically, friends of mine were doing it, specifically Slinger. You probably know his work, and D-Rec were friends of mine. We all actually went to college together and were friends from before any of us blew glass. And they were learning from a dude named Pat Kiefer in Ithaca, New York. And it just looked awesome and, seemed like a really cool thing to do. So I tried it a few times and then just kind of got started with actually that same guy, Pat Kiefer, moved to San Francisco where I was living at the time. And we set up a shop together and started going for it.
Nice. So what year did you start getting behind the torch?
1998.
Nice. Very cool. So what sort of things did you start making when you first were blowing glass?
Spoons, just basic stuff. In all honesty, a lot of it was just blobs, like I wasn't very good at Inside Out was so popular at the time. That was like the only technique that anybody cared about or wanted to do. So a lot of my stuff was just blobby and terrible. And, but I, if it had a bowl and a carb and a mouthpiece, I could sell it for $5 or $10. And I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I could just go up to Haight Street and go into the shops and see how many of those I could sell in a day, how many I could make in a day. And it paid better, like kind of out the gate, paid better than the shitty job I had at the time. So
nice. What was it like starting to blow glass in an era where like knowledge for glass blowing was so much less accessible than it is now?
In some ways, it was definitely way more difficult. There was no internet to speak of that you could just look up demos or even look up torches or color or any of that stuff. All that stuff was super limited. But that said, you could learn a lot by word of mouth and meeting people. And I think that just like everything in the world, it was more face-to-face and personal. Back in those days, people were much more protective of their techniques. I mean, I guess some people still kind of are today, and there's still a lot of old schoolers that have that attitude, but it's kind of like if you just show up somewhere, nobody knew you, they wouldn't really just let you come in the shop and show you stuff. It was very closed off, and it was a very sort of limited circle of people that really knew what was up with it, especially with the real old schoolers. I was fortunate enough because I had friends that were into it to learn a lot from them. And also Slinger and D-Rec and these other cats from Ithaca, New York got moved out to Seattle. And there had been a sort of a connection with a group of glass blowers, a group of pipe makers from Corvallis, Oregon, Jason Braun, Pedro Smiley, Chris Dawson. And all those guys had connected with this guy named Ezra Zygmuntovich, who, rest in peace, he passed away, but he was an incredible glass blower and just kind of a genius at almost everything. But he was from Ithaca, and he linked up with those guys and then they all moved up to Seattle together, and there was sort of a Seattle and eventually Bellingham, Washington. Anyway, they were much more open to people. So a lot of those people were more willing to share techniques, and they sort of had a different attitude than some of the old school pipe makers who were very secretive. You know, you had to have an apprenticeship to learn anything. They wouldn't let you look over their shoulder. These guys didn't really have that attitude, at least with me. And so I would go visit them and hang out, and they were super open and super sharing and giving with technique. And they were also pushing a lot of boundaries. That was a time where people were doing these incredible inside out techniques, a lot of really dramatic organic shaping, you know, the sort of like poles and spikes and, you know, just stacking reversals. And there was sort of a more, I always think about it as a more punk approach, to be completely honest, but I don't know. There was probably a lot of different things going on. You know, a lot of those cats were just more hippies, but yeah, it kind of had a punk approach. You know, it's just kind of, we're doing this ourselves, you know, DIY. Nobody went to school for it. Nobody was an apprentice with anybody. They just sort of figured it out. And that really was where I was coming from, and sort of where the crew that I came from were all coming from. So there was a lot of information shared in that, and a lot of boundaries were pushed in terms of technique and just the entire approach to glass and what could be done with glass. And obviously all those guys continue to do that. You know, it's different now, 20 years later, more than 20 years later, when there's a lot more openness to what techniques are sort of acceptable. But at that time in pipe making, there weren't really a lot of techniques being utilized like there are now. So it was revolutionary.
Definitely. I'm sure it's wild to see how the industry's changed over the past like 20 years.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. I still see some of the things that people are doing, and it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any specific things that you kept from like your early days of work?
In all honesty, sometimes I laugh because I'm still kind of doing the same thing in some ways. You know, I still do inside out for almost everything. Honestly, I do more fume work now than I even did in the beginning, but I always did fume work from the very beginning. That was just kind of a given in the beginning, that you learn how to fume. But for a long time, I was still doing fuming, but it was mainly for my more production level stuff. And then all the headies were like full color, all wig-wag reversals stacked and stuff like that. And now, you know, that's sort of a style that a lot of people do. You know, sort of like a given with style. So I've kind of almost gone back in the last 5 years to doing more fume work and almost all fume work, and sort of trying to refine that and go further down that wormhole, in both in understanding how fume works and understanding how to achieve what I want out of it, and also sort of trying to develop my own style and really not just have it be generic. But honestly, I remember back in the day, there was this guy in Ithaca, New York, Zach Gillis. He was sort of one of the main sort of grandfathers of the whole scene there, one of the first people that anybody knew that blew glass and made pipes. He had said something once about it's all lines and dots. And, you know, obviously these days it isn't all lines and dots. People do sandblasting and carving and no pattern and, you know, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But I laugh sometimes because I'm still doing almost all lines and dots, you know, it's like, so I feel like I've kept alive. I'm still kind of doing the same thing, just kind of trying to keep pushing it.
Yeah, definitely. You push those sort of like foundationary inside out techniques and just push them to the absolute limit. And that's what I love about your work, and that's I'm sure what most people love about your work is the simplicity, but just amazing execution.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean with the fume, one of the amazing things about fume, and I think that most people who work with fume would probably say this, is that it just feels like you could keep going forever. It's so subtle, and the tiny differences in amount of fume and flame and all the different steps just mean that you can kind of keep learning about it forever. So even though there's something nice about the what you see is what you get colors, that no matter how long you work them, they're still going to look the same. There's something just incredibly magical about the fume and the different dynamics you can get with it. So I feel like I'm still learning things every single day from gold and silver fume, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So what drew you to that like sort of revival of using fume again?
Well, in all honesty, I quit blowing glass in 2010 for about 5 years. And when I got back into it, you know, it was a whole new world. All the techniques, all the new colors, all the, you know, these random cats I'd never even heard of who were super sick and amazing. And I just didn't know what was up. So I kind of felt like I wanted to do something that was simple for me, you know, to get into, that didn't require me figuring out all these new colors and what was what with it all. I could just go back to the basics. Also, it was just that nobody else, there weren't that many people that were doing it that, or that could do it. You know, it's sort of a technique that there's only a small handful of people that really, in my opinion, really do it really well and dial it in. So I just thought, well, let me just kind of go with this when I get started back into it, to gain my footing in the scene again and do something that I always like doing, sort of a classic style. And then, you know, it sold well. It was exciting to me as a crafts person, you know, and I just kind of kept going and got more and more and more and more into it, and more and more and more excited about it. And I don't know, I'm still doing it. Although since then, I kind of have reincorporated colored glass back into it. You know, a lot of those pieces that that Elev8 has are sort of the newer body of work I'm doing, where there's fume, but then there's also some of these new hot colors or sort of different things. I'm trying to find ways to bridge the gap and take on that challenge, because working with the color and the fume both in one section can actually be really, really challenging. So that's kind of a fun direction for me too.
Yeah. What's your favorite color to pair the fume with?
I gotta say the Molten Aura Tele Magenta is just, I fucking love that color. It's just like something that the world of Oro has never seen before. It's just, but I like a lot of different things. I really, really like the Molten Aura colors. I just can't help it. They're just so well made and so clean and so nice. But I also like a lot of the North Star colors. In all honesty, maybe my alt would be North Star Yellow, which in a way is a fume color. You know, it's predominantly a silver-based color, and it's just fucking awesome. You know, it just goes so well with the fume. It's perfect for that.
Yeah, definitely. It sure does. A lot of people don't know that the glass colors that they had available back in the day were not nearly what they had today. So what sort of challenges came from working with a limited color palette?
Oh man, I always think about that whenever I get into conversations with, you know, newer glass pipe makers. I feel like old man gasp, you know, telling them about how back in the day all we had was cobalt, light cobalt, ruby, you know, rust. It was like a random color. You know, I mean, by the time I got into it, there were a few more, you know, some of those early North Star colors like amber purple and blue moon existed, but, you know, it was just super limited. I think that's why maybe fuming was a thing that people did a lot more than too. Also, the realization about how silver fume reacts to different types of clear glass wasn't really apparent in the beginning. So it's I won't try to go on for too long about this, because it's, you know, kind of technical, and I'm not a chemist. You got to talk to interview Ease to talk about glass chemistry, but basically the different glasses react to silver differently. So Pyrex, the glass everybody used back in the day, was either Pyrex or Kimball, was like all anybody could really find. The fume fumes out and becomes very white very easily with those glasses. Not just silver fume, but silver-based colors like amber purple or blue moon or butterscotch, or these sort of like early colors that everybody had were a lot of them were based around silver. So they've just kind of turned white in the glass, you know, if you drew lines or dots of them. And it wasn't until people realized that shot Duran and then after that Cymax react differently to the fume, and so they don't turn white as fast, and you started getting these vivid colors and more electric blues and things like that, which both if you're fuming silver or using those colors. There's some people out there that want to argue at that point, but that is not my experience. Anyway, you know, now there's kind of other companies and this, that, and the other, but it's still the realization that you could use, I only use Cymax, and it's just, you can just get a range of colors that are sort of impossible to get. And back in the day, it was really impossible to get. So everything kind of had this foggy look to it that after people made that realization and started using these other types of glass, everything just kind of became more clear, crystal clear, and sort of vibrant with the colors.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was funny. It's both the limitations of the colors that were available, but also the limitations of the sort of knowledge about it and how the worked and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense why you see it, or why I would see like older pieces and they look a little bit more milky than the pieces that you see today.
Yeah.
What is your favorite item to blow? Pipes, rigs, pendants, marbles?
Pipes, dry pipes.
What's
I'm
your
a
favorite
flower
pipe shaping?
smoker. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's your favorite pipe shaping?
Sherlock.
Classics. Me
Yeah,
too.
I love a classic Sherlock. I mean, maybe if I only had to make those, I would really want to make other shapes, and I like the diversity. But yeah, being a flower smoker and stuff, it's like I just love the color changing glass pipe. That's just my favorite thing. It's what I fell in love with, and I still love making them now. And I've gotten, like I was saying in the beginning, a lot of people were into that really organic shaping with lots of horns and spikes and everything. And I still think that's fun. I actually just made a piece for a dude that had a lot of that, and it was really fun to do it again. But I really love classic design, but not just with pipes or glass blowing, but with in general, furniture and things like that. I love modern mid-century stuff and Scandinavian and Japanese things. And in terms of woodworking and furniture and vases and whatnot, home decor. And so I love clean, classic sort of shapes, and that classic Sherlock shape, the thing that connotates pipe in anybody's
Yeah.
mind. I just love it, and like that's for me, especially recently, I just want to dial that shape in, and I want to keep tweaking the sizes of the different proportions of it and see if I can get it. The comfort in the hand. I just think the comfort in the hand is unparalleled with a nice classic Sherlock.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with you there. I'm a Sherlock person. I've got a few at home.
Yeah.
A couple of Fume ones because that's like what got me into glass pipes. Like the entire glass pipe scene was finding a cool pipe and like, oh, whoa, this changes colors, and then like hearing from a friend that if you look for more that are like that, then you can like, oh, it just opened up this whole world to me of the color changing glass was like my path into the whole glass scene, and so that's always like near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
What is the hardest part about working with Fume?
The hardest part with working with what?
With Fume.
Oh, I want to say maybe the inconsistency, just to get it consistently the same colors every time. I've never been able to do that. It's at least slightly different every time, if not radically different every time. But there's also the sort of limitations on how much you can work it. I've been really trying to push that lately and do more work to each section and see if I can maintain the colors, but it just doesn't hold up. You can burn the fume out if you do too much to it. And, so I think those sort of things it's challenging. It's not like just straight up colored glass where you can just work it and work it and work it and work it. I mean, it could become overworked. That happens to all glass, but the colors won't really change. With fume, it can literally turn to clear or just, kind of lose the rainbow effect and, different things like that.
Yeah. What is your favorite Fume technique or application? Because you do like a whole wide range of like line work and all sorts of different applications. What's your favorite?
Man, it's really hard to pick a favorite. I really, really love Fume dots, both the inside out dots, but lately I've been doing some pieces with outside Fume dots, and it's been really fun to get those. I can kind of get a different range of colors with it, and it has a different effect. I've also done a few cups and jars with outside Fume dots, and that's pretty cool because of the open mouth, you can see inside, so you can kind of see the inside out bubble look of the dots, but you can also see the outside look. So that's been pretty fun. Probably dots are my favorite, but lately I've been loving the lines, and I've been loving doing tighter sort of wigs and twists with the lines to really see how tight I can get it and still maintain cool colors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I go back and forth with it.
Nice. Nice. What would you say is the most difficult piece you've ever attempted?
I don't really know, but I'll tell a story from a long time ago. I was making a collab with a couple of my good friends, Chachi Rodriguez, whose CR Glass works, and ESP Glass. They're two good friends of mine who at the time they were living up in Humboldt County in California. I was living in San Francisco, and I would go up and visit them a lot, and we would collab and hang out. It was awesome. But we did this piece one time, a 3-way collab that was a triple bubbler. And so it had one main can that was really big, and then these 2 little mini cans on the back that it was like, we thought it was so cool. It was like a jetpack where they were next to each other. So it didn't go like 1 to 2 to 3. It went 1 into both second cans at the same time and then back into the mouthpiece. And it had this really big, wide bass. I mean, maybe now looking back, it wasn't as wide as we thought at the time, but it was still like pretty big. And it was all one color. It was a Glass Alchemy Black Violet, like a giant coil pot of that on the bottom, and probably some pattern underneath that. And I'm blowing out the bottom to sit the piece. It's like towards the end of the whole process. And this big wide bass, I'm heating it up in the flame, and I flip it upside down to puff it. And the entire bottom pops off and drops on the bench and explodes.
Oh no!
So, I don't know, it's 4 or 5 inches around. Like in a radius, across this big base, and but it was clean. It was almost like a perfect line where the black violet had connected to the next section, just off. But there it is, down stems in there, and it was a giant open gaping wound on this thing, and it was a nightmare. But I ended up coil potting more black violet just off of this giant base and blew the whole thing out. It survived, and we sold it, and it was probably the biggest, most difficult, but also kind of hilarious and awesome save. I might be forgetting who did what at what points in that process. It was a long time ago, but all 3 of us worked a lot on that piece, and
Nice.
fun.
Nice. That's a crazy story. I love hearing stories like that from inside the studios. Do you work in a studio by yourself?
I do.
Nice. Is it just like a home studio?
Yep. This is my shop. I'm in it right now, just in my garage.
Awesome. What's your favorite part about working in the shop by yourself?
Well, I'd say it's probably a tie between being able to be as clean as I want to be. I am very clean and neat in general, and especially in my workspace. I think I don't know what it is, but I'm very, obsessive about my space being nice, and it really helps me create. It helps me enjoy being in the studio for long amounts of time. I've worked really hard to make my space nice, to make it not too loud or intense or over visually stimulating. I like to have a lot of art in front of my bench to sort of inspire me, but I don't like chaotic environments. It's very the visual distractions are very hard for me to deal with. So that's probably the number one, but I also like listening to whatever I want to. I don't listen to a lot of music that a lot of other pipe makers want to listen to. And so in other shops, I tend to have a hard time with that too. Like really loud music that's maybe not my favorite. And maybe a shitty sound system or something.
Yeah, definitely. I can get on board with both of those. Glassblowing studios can get notoriously dirty and messy and cluttered and all that.
Yeah.
You can
Nightmare.
get like layers of blow tubes I've seen on people's benches and stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes traveling to people's shops for collabing a challenge for me. Mm-hmm. I can usually deal with it, and it's usually worth it to like work with another person that I really like or whose work I really respect and all that. Like it's all fine, but I have that. It's a challenge for me.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned collabing. Do you do collaborations often?
I haven't, obviously this year I haven't done too many because nobody's been traveling. I did a couple recently with Bowl Pusher, this dude out of Detroit who's a Fume worker, and we've chatted a bit online, and I've known about his work for years, and so that was really fun. We just did mail order collabs. But other than that, this year I did a collab with my buddy Chachi Rodriguez. He does these really cool chalies that are
the 3-piece ones, right?
Yeah. It's based on the traditional Jamaican chalice smoking thing. They're super cool, really original idea, original shape. We did a collab this year. We're gonna do another one soon. Man, I'm kind of forgetting what was this year. I think I did do a collab with Ease, my buddy Ease, this year. We might have even done a couple. That was probably this year. Like, what happened? What happened this year? Time. Yeah. But So in general, in the past, I've done more collabing, and I usually travel at least 2 or 3 times a year to go visit some folks and sort of get out of my own shop and get out there in the world. And but this year that didn't really happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it's cool that you've still gotten a couple of mail order collabs in and a couple collabs in with the homies.
Yeah,
What is your favorite collaboration that you've ever done?
that's tough. That's really tough. I don't know. I've liked them all. I will say, maybe in a way, my favorite collab, I can't even pick one, but my favorite collabs have been ones that I've done with really good old homies of mine, people like Chachi or ESP. We actually did a 3-way collab last year when those guys were up here for the DFO. And we all it was so hot. It was like 100 and something degrees in Oregon at the time. And we just were in the shop, 3 of us just cranking. And we made a really cool Fume dry piece. But I've also really enjoyed making collabs with friends of mine, my buddy Slinger, who I've known forever, who is one of the main inspirations for me getting into glass and has been a huge supporter of mine, like since day one. And we did some collabs right when I got back on the torch in 2015 that were actually still to this day. I love them. They're really cool, weird techniques that I never do, that I had never done before. And those are really cool. I've done I did a 3-way collab with Slinger and D-Rec for a live demo at Peace of Mind OC a few years ago when I was down there visiting, just a Sherlock, but it was super fun to do a piece with 2 of my best friends in the glass scene and do it live for a demo.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I gotta pick those out. But I really like all the collabs I've ever done. I've never had a real bad experience or anything that I can think of. And it's always been an honor to collab with people. I'm going to keep rambling, but I've had the opportunity to collab with a couple of Bob Snodgrass's original apprentices, Cameron Tower and Stan Alba. And both those guys are super cool. And those were just huge honors for me because they were some of the glass blowers I looked up to when I first got into it. They seemed like real OGs at the time. Oh, Brian Padilla is another one that I've been able to collab with. And it's, just people that were like, holy shit. When I got into it, it seemed like they'd been blowing glass for 20 years. They'd only been blowing glass for 2 to 4 years or something like that at that time. But they seemed like the true OGs of the scene. So being able to do collabs with them was really cool and a real honor.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm sure getting to collab with people that you looked up to at one point in time has got to be an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about collabing?
Probably just having the social angle. I want to say, of course, making the piece is sort of the point of it and is ultimately the best part. And technically, it can be a challenge to work with other people's prep. So it pushes you as a craftsperson, learning. But I really like the social part and being able to sort of get to know people more, especially because I work alone. So keeping it social, having a human element to the whole thing, not having it be only sort of faceless online commerce, which just seems like what the world is these days.
Yeah.
It's nice to have something where there's you can actually meet another human being and connect on some level, artistically connect around something that you both really have a shared passion for.
Do you have any collaborations in the works?
Well, I do have prep from some people that I haven't done anything with yet. So apologies to those people. I actually have some prep that Bowl Pusher sent me. And so I'm going to make something with that soon. But I just haven't had the time. It's been an incredibly busy year for me. I've never been this busy with orders and making work before in my entire life, which is a really, really, really good thing. Very grateful for that. But it also hasn't left me a ton of time to sort of break off to be creative or not that, I'm creative with all the orders I do, but I haven't been able to do this sort of stuff where I'm just going to spend a day and make this random collab that I don't know if it's going to sell or not, or, spend a day or two making a new design or something. So yeah. I'm looking forward to doing that. Hopefully next year, I'm going to be able to get ahead of some of these orders and spend some time kind of doing some new designs or experimenting with some new patterns and getting to some of these collabs, some of the prep that I have built up. I have some plans to do another collab with Chachi, and I have plans to do another collab with Ease. So I got to just get them some sections There's also a cat, Todd Lewis. I can't remember his Instagram right now, T Lewis, but he's another Fume worker who's been in the game a really long time. I think maybe a couple years longer than me. He's down in Southern California. Super cool dude. We've chatted a bit online and we've talked about doing a collab too. So both of us are super busy and whatnot. So who knows when that'll happen, but hopefully that'll happen soon too.
I'm excited to see that. You two are probably two of my favorite Fume artists, so I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, his stuff is killer, really killer.
When you mentioned making new designs, when you make new designs, do you like sketch those out, or you just kind of get on the torch and then go at it?
I sketch them out. Yeah, I haven't done that in a while, and it was funny, years ago I sketched out some recycler designs and I spent a week prototyping recyclers. They were all terrible, and you just literally I just sucked the water into my mouth instantaneously. So I realized that's not really my strong suit, maybe, but yeah, I usually, when I do new designs, and I sketch stuff a lot, even if I'm just doing a Sherlock, sometimes I'll sketch it out just to kind of get the image in my head, so that when I'm actually making it on the torch, that it's not in my head anymore, and I'm focused more on the pattern work and stuff like that. Definitely, if I'm doing any sort of even slightly different design of a rig, I'll sketch it out. Just kind of, for some reason, drawing it first allows my brain to sort of incorporate that, and then when I'm in the flame, it's sort of, my brain isn't preoccupied with how big should this be, or how should this be. It's sort of that part can rest, and I can focus on the rest.
Yeah, I like that. I like that way of going at it. You mentioned earlier that you're a flower person. Is that your preferred consumption, just flower?
Actually, to be honest, lately it's been tinctures. I don't know if it's COVID or anything else lately, but I just haven't liked the respiratory effect of smoking as much as I used to. So I've actually been going hard on the tinctures lately. And I do CBD because I have back sort of ongoing back issues. And so then I sort of started experimenting with incorporating different tinctures, both ones I've made myself and ones that I bought at stores and stuff like that, trying to find the right mix and different things. And I don't know, I really like that. It's sort of the longer lasting, it's a less of a quick up and down and more of like a multiple hour thing. And I liked being able to really control it, so that when I'm working, I can take this many drops of this or this, and then I kind of, at night, I'm doing this, that sort of thing.
It's more scientific, more medicinal, more broken down for exactly what you need it for. That's what makes sense.
It's the only thing I will say is that the flavor, I mean, it's just kind of like a flavor, nearly flavorless thing. So I miss that, honestly. And that's the one thing, I don't dab super often, but the flavor, it's just like, man, some of those ones, the rosin and all the sort of newer developments in hash, I just think it's just, if they could get that flavor everywhere, maybe fucking scented candles or something, that it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Have you ever competed at any events before?
No.
Is that something that you would want to try out sometime, or not for you?
Probably not. I'm not really into competition in general. I was never a big sports guy. So to me, like art and craft isn't really about competition. And I think those events are really cool because of the way that they bring people together, and the way that it sort of becomes an event for the community. But I don't really, I just think, I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
I like it more with like what the DFO has become, where there's no competition. It's just people blowing glass, and you get to see amazing people work. I don't really know how anyone would determine who wins when it comes to art and craft. It's like some of my favorite art and craft it doesn't probably fall into that category. You have like, maybe this is a part you can cut out of the interview because I'm about to talk some shit, but I think like in our scene, what people is most impressive is often just the biggest, or it's the biggest and gaudiest. And that's just not a style that I like in art. So it's kind of like, I don't know, what would I do in the competition? Make a Fume Sherlock, and then people will be like, yo, we've seen that 1,000,000 times. I don't know. Just kind of like,
I get what you're saying. Like even the most clean, perfect Sherlock in the world isn't gonna wow people more than the 18-inch tall, multiple day sculpture.
yeah,
Whether
just kind of,
the
my
person who
preference.
made the Sherlock has more skill than the person who put the sculpture together, or put more time or effort into learning to make that. I totally see what you
Or
mean.
there's a subtlety to it. I think that's what gets lost in a lot of those competitions, but in general gets lost in the pipe scene a little bit, is like the sort of subtlety. And that's not 100% true, because you have, like, I'll say, all the cats from Japan who I just think are unbelievable. Like, their work is so next level, and a lot of it does have subtlety, and it's small and it's precise. There's a lot of really, really advanced, or I don't know what I don't know, advanced isn't the right word, but their design aesthetic is just incredible to me. It's not just about how many dots, Rose Rhodes put into there, or how much, like, it's the overall aesthetic is really amazing. And there's a lot of other people in the scene too that I think have that. Some people like Chris Carlson are really doing that, where the aesthetic of his work is so clean and nice. Or even somebody like Two Stroke, same thing. Just like, their skill, but they have a lot of skill. It's very technical, but that's not the point. The point is this overall end result, and having it be a beautiful object, and having there to be some sort of like aesthetic and design to it. It's not sort of like just big and gaudy and sort of, I don't know. That's just, that's everybody's preferences. Some people, everybody likes different things. It's not, what's that?
It says it's more calculated.
What's that?
It's more calculated.
Yeah. And it's just what I prefer. Yeah. Yes.
What can we look forward to in the future for your work?
I want to make more cups. I was on a big kick of making cups for a while, especially a few years ago. And I don't know, I kind of fell off on that. I got so busy having so many orders for pipes. But I want to make more cups. I like drinking. I'm a drinker. And so I really like cups. I also love the tradition of it. And again, kind of the same thing, the subtlety of it. Sometimes, honestly, I could see like just a tumbler at the fucking Goodwill, and I find so much beauty in that. Just this perfectly functional, simple object. And same thing with, like, what I was saying about a lot of the design. I like mid-century design, things where it's all about this like perfect lines and just cleanliness. And I don't know, there's something about a cup. It's such a simple vessel that I like to do more of that, refine my technique, get better at it, do more of that.
Nice. And Fume cups, I'm sure, is something that would just be mind blowing to put like a dark liquid into a cup.
Yeah. I did do a few recently. I work with an online retailer called The Glass Abyss, and I just sent them a bunch of stuff that included a handful of cups and some jars and some things that could be a jar or a cup. That I'm trying to figure out what fume works good with it, and what sort of comes through in the cups.
Very cool. Do you still find the same love and passion you had when you started blowing glass?
Yes. Yeah, maybe even more. Like I mentioned earlier, I quit for almost 5 years. And at that point when I quit, I didn't find the same love for it. I had full on lost the love. I dreaded getting on the torch. The whole thing bummed me out. And since I've gotten back into it, I feel like I love it almost more than I ever have before. And every single day, I'm so grateful that I get to do this, that I just get to do it all day. And, being able to do something you love, spending those hours, to me, that'll outweigh any amount of money that I might ever be able to make doing something else. Or it's just like, I just like melting glass in a flame. And, I don't know, probably seems normal to a lot of people that might watch this, or to you, being a glass lover, but it's pretty weird. It's a pretty specific thing to be into. And all of us that are lamp workers, I imagine people have those moments of just thinking, this is just bizarre. What an odd, very hyper specific thing we found that can bring so much joy.
Yeah, bring so many people together.
Yeah. And I hope, bring so many people joy that buy the pieces, like,
Absolutely.
sometimes I'm blown away by how many people buy so much glass. I'm like, all the people that buy my work and that collect work, I'm just like, still to this day dumbfounded. You know, like the people hit me up just liking my work, whether they buy anything or not. Like I'm so grateful for that. And I think that I've really tried to hold on to that, because I think that, I don't know, you can't lose sight of that. Like those people make it possible, you know, Elev8, you know, all these shops that buy my work, that is why I get to do something that I love to do every day. And I'm just eternally grateful for that opportunity. Hopefully it lasts.
Your passion definitely shines through in your work.
Yeah, thank you.
That's for sure. Is there anything else you'd like to add, man?
Can't think of anything.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing with us. It was super fun to get to talk to you today. Thank you so much for sharing some awesome stories and cool insights.
Thank you.
It was super great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks again to Gasp. That was so much fun. Really awesome to get to talk with a legend in the glass industry. Before we're done here tonight, we're going to get a quick check-in from Elev8 dolls.
Hi, it's Teresa.
And Brandy.
The lovely Elev8 doll. And today we're here to talk to you about why we love being Elev8 dolls. The first thing we love about being Elev8 dolls is product sampling. Testing all the products to make sure that they work before they leave. Brandy here has got the Super Surfer. She's going to go ahead and show us and see if that thing works here. She's going to do some product testing. I'm going to go ahead here and out of my dab station, I'm going to try this bad boy here. It's called a EOK. Ooh, look at you.
Very easy to use.
This is one of our wonderful beakers that we have, and this is some of our heady glass. This is our EOK, or our electronic banger. Do you like the electronic banger? You do?
Always ready when you need it there.
We've got the duck jar to keep this in because you can eat it. One more time, Brandy. Try it for me. Ha! Looks like these products are working. You should come by and get yours now.
Yes, now.
See you soon, and remember, Elev8.
Mind, body, and spirit.
Thanks, Elev8 dolls. And now we're going to hear a little bit from Elev8 veterans.
Hey guys, how's it going? Once again, it's Friday. Hey, thanks again, Chris, for giving us a spot here. But I'm John. I'm with Elev8 Veterans. You guys might have seen me once or twice before now. But yeah, I just kind of want to talk to you guys about what Elev8 Veterans does and how they have helped me in the past. So when I showed up to Elev8, I was actually just changing out a unit that I had, and you know, one thing led to another, and here I am, still hanging out, Elev8 Veteran. You know, proud to say it too. I even got the Elev8 Dolls sweater going on here too, because guess what? If you're a part of the Elev8 family, it's all encompassing. So if you guys want to be a part of the Elev8 family, go on elev8veterans.com or just any of the other Elev8 websites and check us out. See if we catch your interest. Till then, see you guys. Elev8, mind, body, and spirit.
Always great to hear a little bit from Elev8 veterans. Remember, if you want to hear more information on that, go check out their website, elev8veterans.com. And now we got a little bit more time, so we're going to do a quick product demo for you guys.
What's up, Elev8 fam? Johnny here. It's Friday, so we're session. Thanks for letting me join this week's Elevated 8. This week I was hanging out session with my Wax Maxer. And this is our Wax Maxer. It's our updated Wax Maxer, just in case someone has already had it in the past. This is an updated version of our Wax Maxer. To me, it's the best concentrate dab pen on the market. So it comes in a package like this. You got 3 options that you can get. You can get just the mod, and this is where the magic happens right here. It comes with the mod. It can come with the mod plus battery, or battery plus top, and then top plus mod. So there's 3 options that you can get it on. Any of that information is on our website, elevateglassgallery.com. So Friday, good day to sesh. Show you how this bad boy works. So I connected that top to the battery. This silver battery has 3 temperature settings. You click it 5 times to start it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll blink like it's ready. There's 3 different temperature settings, 3 different voltages. The red is the lowest temperature. Green is medium temperature. Blue is highest temperature. It charges just like with most, it's compatible with most chargers that you already have. Good thing about this thing though is it takes 4 to 5 hours to charge. And for me, my personal use, and I use it probably, I hit it 15 to 20 times a day, it'll last me 4 days easily on one charge. So very reliable and lasts a long time. Another awesome thing is this thing is all-in-one. So when I say all-in-one, that means I literally can store my herb in the bottom because it's got a silicone storage container at the bottom. It's got a dab tool in the top. Get your dabs in your bowl right there. It's all ready to go, ready to experience it. So I got mine set, and I like mine set at the lowest temperature because that flavor, these wax maxers we use ceramic, just like all of our products, we use ceramic heaters because one of the things is durability. With metal, when it heats, it oxidizes often. So ceramic does not. So that ceramic heater you see in there will last you a long time and get you great hits. We do have options for what type of coil and hit you want, but our ceramic heater is my favorite. So, and we'll do it like this. Got my dab tool, got me some dabs, drop it right in, it's ready to go. And what I like to do, I like to heat it up a little bit and let what I put in there, and you can see it already smoking up. Put that top back on, it's ready to go. Might as well. And it's such like it's just taste. So like this is for the true connoisseur. That's what we like to say, because you buy that cartridge, you buy those cartridges and stuff like that, you're getting way less. Sometimes you don't even know what's in it. This, if you have your own press, if you have your own stuff, easily smokable for any connoisseur. So I've taken this thing with me hiking, camping. I've dropped it 50 feet while I was bouldering, which is something we do out here in Colorado where Elev8 distribution is located. I've dropped it 50 feet, went back to the bottom and picked it right up. Awesome. Another thing about our bowl that's special is there are no air intake holes in the bottom of them. And so with most pens that you see, they have air intake holes so that you can get your herb. And it creates it gets all sticky and it spills and leakage. This is a no leak design. So it has the threadless cap, and we use the 2 O-rings there. It's threadless. So no matter what, easily able to get your next bowl ready to go. And then we have our turbulator. And that's our intake hole. And so it comes in at a 360-degree angle, and so when you're hitting it, it's heating up that entire ceramic bowl in there. And it's a conical bowl, so it leaves less room for wax getting stuck in there, wasted wax, stuff like that. It's really been thought about every single way. There are things you could do to troubleshoot if you ever have any issues, or if there are things that you have some questions with. You can go to our Elev8 Presents YouTube page. That's Elev8 Presents. And we do how-tos on everything, on all of our products. You can check out how to use the wax maxer. Let me take one more. if you just want to find out more about it, head to our website, elevateglassgallery.com, and search the Wax Maxer. This is our newest version of it. It's super affordable, super durable, all in one. It's literally my favorite pen, and that's what my main consumption is concentrate. And I used to, when I first moved to Colorado, it was just cartridges because I thought that was the most efficient way to consume, most affordable. No, not at all. Now you get 1 gram of wax from wherever you would like. That 1 gram of wax, I loaded maybe 0.1 into here, and this will last me until the end of today. It's 1 o'clock now. I'll get done around 5. So, and that's just that tiny bit I put in there. Again, all in one, 3 temperature settings, 3 different voltages, 5 clicks to turn it on, 3 clicks to change it. You got your storage container in the bottom. It is a 510 thread as well. So those 3 different options, you can, if you already have a mod or a battery, it's compatible with it. It's got that 510 thread in there. So if you just need the top, man, let us know. We'd love to get you one of these. The Wax Maxer. Badass. Thanks for letting me show you guys that. I hope you guys have a good new year. Stay elevated, everybody. Mind, body, and spirit.
Thank you guys for watching. That was so much fun. Thanks again to Elevate Veterans, Elevate Dolls, and of course to Gasp for stopping and doing that interview with us. Remember, you can follow his work at gasp.one. That is O-N-E, not the number 1, on Instagram to check out some more of his cool work. Thanks for watching. Like I said, let's make 2021 a little bit better than 2020 was. Elevate, mind, body, and spirit.